Good evening, Patriots. Trust in media today in America, it absolutely plunges. As a matter of fact, by any objective measure right now, it is at an all-time low. And Jen, I really think that lack of trust is part of what's fueling division in an already polarized American society.
Yeah, it is, Steve. You know, you can see why it's happened, right? So many journalists have forgotten about journalism and they've become activists. And the American people, I think, really see right through that. The proof is in a lot of the ratings that you see these days.
It sure is. Well, listen, let's talk about the Cuomo scandal. Not that Cuomo scandal, but the other one that matters to America far beyond New York State. I'm talking about Chris Cuomo, primetime CNN anchor and brother of the embattled governor. Chris has proven himself to be a paragon of the corruption and malfeasance that plagues almost all of corporate media in America today. In a global survey a few weeks ago, the Reuters Institute for Journalism at Oxford University in the UK found that Americans had the lowest level of trust in media of any major country on earth at only 29%. And they surveyed 46 countries, so this was a wide sample. With legacy platform luminaries like Chris Cuomo, it's no wonder. Here is how he opened last night's show after the release of the blockbuster bombshell report detailing his brother's systemic harassment of women employees.
I'm Chris Cuomo. Welcome to Primetime. We're focused on COVID here.
Oh, really? We're focused on COVID. We're going to talk about COVID. Okay, a bit strange given how much you have defended and lionized your brother, but let's take your suggestion, Chris, and let's talk COVID. Governor Cuomo's virus management record is a litany of terrible policy decisions that turned New York nursing homes into killing fields. Consider this fact. If New York were a country, the per capita virus death rate would be the second worst in the world, second behind only the country of neighboring New Jersey. Covering your own brother presents a tricky situation, absolutely. Now, to me, if Cuomo Primetime had simply avoided all stories about Andrew Cuomo, both positive and negative, it would be understandable, and I think even more than that, it would be commendable. But it didn't, and Chris didn't. Instead, Chris used his CNN platform, and CNN let him use that platform to run cover for Andrew. Instead of challenging his brother, Fredo recruited him for cringe-worthy episodes more befitting a sitcom than a serious primetime newscast.
Is it true that this was the swab that the nurse was actually using on you, and that at first it went into your nose and disappeared, so that in scale, this was the actual swab that was being used to fit up that double-barrel shotgun that you have mounted on the front of your pretty face?
Okay, but if that's not bad enough, Chris's advocacy went even further. He was a key part of the strategy team managing Andrew Cuomo's response to women accusing him of harassment. In fact, the state attorney general's report appears to suggest that Chris Cuomo himself was writing his brother's press releases. Now, Chris Cuomo claims, amazingly, he claims to be an unbiased journalist. Please, transparency and honesty are crucial in journalism. But Chris Cuomo instead pulls stunts like this, airing video of his dramatic rise from his basement, where he claimed to quarantine during a bout with COVID. What a fraud. He was out breaking that quarantine already when he got into an altercation with a man who happened to cycle by and see him. Lazarus, you're not, Chris. Not inconsistent, though, with who he is. He defended Antifa. Yes, Antifa, the violent leftist thugs who have terrorized America. I've verbally sparred with him about exactly this subject.
I do not make any differentiation between neo-Nazis and Antifa. Just because they claim in their name that they are anti-fascist, their tactics are, in fact, totally fascist.
One of the
people
groups
who
was
put on
created to kill people they don't like. The other group,
and so was
Black
Antifa.
Lives Matter,
Antifa
has hangers-on and aberrant actors within their ranks. But the groups were not created to destroy parts of humanity.
It's not aberrant within Antifa. They put on masks and helmets, and they show up with clubs to damage property and to hurt people. They are thugs.
The group.
They are America's brown shirts.
I stand by that statement. They are America's brown shirts. Listen, here's the thing. The problem is way bigger than Chris Fredo Cuomo. It's bigger than Governor Andrew Cuomo. It's bigger than CNN. It's indicative of the rot that plagues the media in America. The mavens of media, they all think alike. They protect the same politicians. They tell the same lies like the Russia hoax. And they socialize with the same credentialed elites. They make an already polarized society even more fractious. And we must demand.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.